Imagine putting on a headset in the year 2030, and the moment it slides over your eyes, you are not looking at a screen anymore. You are standing in the middle of a city that breathes. Rain taps against your skin through tiny vibrations in your gloves. A stranger walks toward you, and when you speak to them, they do not pull from a list of scripted responses. They remember your name. They remember that last Tuesday you helped them escape a collapsing building 3 missions ago. They hold a grudge, or maybe they smile because you earned their trust. And none of it was written by a single human writer. The entire world around you was generated, adapted, and personalized just for you in real time because an artificial intelligence has been watching how you play, and it knows exactly what kind of experience keeps you locked in. That is not science fiction. Every piece of that experience is being built right now, and by the time 2030 arrives, the only question is going to be how deep down that rabbit hole you are willing to go. Welcome to the Inventor realm, where we dig into the technology that is going to reshape how humanity lives, works, and plays. Today, we are talking about the future of gaming, and I want to be clear from the start. This video is not guesswork. Every number I give you, every company I name, every prediction I make is tied to data that exists today, research that has already been published, and technology that is already in active development. By the time we are done, you are going to understand exactly what is coming and why the next 5 years in gaming are going to be the most transformative in the history of the industry. Let us start with the money, because the money always tells the story. According to Grandview Research, the global virtual reality gaming market was valued at approximately $32.49 billion in 2024. By 2030, that same market is projected to reach $109.59 billion, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 21.6%. And that is actually one of the more conservative estimates on the table. NEXT, another market research firm, puts the projection significantly higher. They estimate the VR gaming market will reach $194.17 billion by 2030, with a compound annual growth rate of 30.8% between 2025 and 2030. Let those numbers sit for a second. We are talking about an industry that could triple or even quintuple in size within the next few years. Now, here is something important to understand about those numbers, because this is where most coverage gets it wrong. Actual VR headset shipments have been declining in recent years. IDC data shows that global VR headset shipments fell 12% year over year in 2024, and the trend continued into 2025. So how can the market be projected to grow so dramatically? The answer is that the hardware getting more expensive and more powerful is driving revenue even as unit shipments fall. Fewer people are buying cheap, entry-level headsets. More people are buying serious, high-end immersive hardware. The quality curve is bending sharply upward, and by 2030, that means the experiences being delivered are going to be in a completely different category from what most people have tried today. Let us talk about where VR stands right now so we understand how far it has come and how far it still needs to go. According to research published by FlameUp, approximately 77 million people in the United States alone had used VR technology by 2024. That number is expected to climb to about 80.6 million in 2025. Globally, active VR users across all platforms were estimated at 171 million in 2024. That number is projected to reach approximately 216 million by the end of 2025. According to market data from Achio, the global VR market overall was valued at roughly $67.66 billion in 2025 across all sectors. Gaming remains the single biggest driver of that adoption. Research from HQ Software Lab indicates that approximately 70% of VR users engage with gaming content regularly. That means gaming is not just participating in the VR revolution. Gaming is leading it. Now here is where things start to get genuinely interesting. The headsets that exist today, even the best ones, still feel like technology. They are impressive, but you know you are wearing a device. The gap between 2025 and 2030 is going to close that feeling dramatically. In the standalone VR headset market, Meta has been the dominant force. They held approximately 74.6% of global market share throughout 2024 according to IDC data. That climbed to 84% in the fourth quarter of 2024 following the launch of the Quest 3S, as reported by multiple market trackers, including Expert Digital. Meta is investing heavily in making that position permanent. According to their own developer blog, they invested nearly $150 million in VR developer programs in 2025 alone, including their Start Developer Competition program. They have confirmed a robust roadmap of future headsets tailored to different audience segments. And their haptics technology is advancing meaningfully. Their Quest 3 controllers now feature what Meta calls True Touch haptics. This technology is specifically designed to make virtual objects feel physically real in your hands. Their Haptics Studio and Haptics SDK are now publicly available tools for developers. That means more and more games will be building in genuine tactile feedback into their experiences by the time the decade closes out. Sony is not sitting still either. In the fourth quarter of 2024, Sony announced a $200 million investment specifically dedicated to studios developing VR-exclusive games for PlayStation VR 2, according to Market Research Future. That kind of content investment matters enormously because hardware is only half the equation. You can build the most sophisticated headset in human history, and if the games are not there, nobody buys it. The race to fill VR libraries with genuinely compelling experiences is accelerating on every front. And 2030 is the horizon both of these companies are building toward. But here is what I want you to really pay attention to, because this is the part that changes everything. The hardware getting better is almost secondary compared to what is happening with artificial intelligence inside the games themselves. For decades, non-playable characters in video games have been essentially puppets. They follow decision trees. They repeat scripts. They do what a programmer decided they would do years before you ever loaded the game. You have heard the same voice lines so many times that the immersion breaks completely. The guard says the same thing every single time you walk by. The shopkeeper has 3 responses and you have memorized all of them. That era is ending. And the company driving the most dramatic change in this space is NVIDIA. At CES 2025, NVIDIA unveiled what they are calling ACE autonomous game characters. This is an expansion of their Avatar Cloud Engine technology that they originally introduced at Computex in 2023. According to NVIDIA ACE official announcements, ACE is now being expanded beyond conversational NPCs into fully autonomous game characters that use artificial intelligence to perceive their environment, plan their actions, and behave in ways that mirror human players. According to NVIDIA ACE's own technical documentation, these NPCs learn from player behavior. They experience emotional states. They pursue their own goals. They adapt dynamically to player tactics in real time. And they can even process accumulated experiences between sessions to develop more coherent, evolved behavior over time. This is not a demo reel concept. This technology is already deployed in real games you can play today. NVIDIA ACE powers AI teammates in Nurica, Bladepoint mobile PC version, which NetEase launched in March 2025, the life simulator in Zoe, which entered early access on March 28 of 2025, uses ACE to power what they call smart Zoe NPCs. These are characters with AI-generated life goals that actively guide their behavior and their interactions with every other entity in the game world. The upcoming game Black Vultures, Prey of Greed, uses an ACE-powered AI system called Viper. It analyzes battlefields in real time through your tactical camera. It provides strategic guidance, and it responds to voice commands with a situational awareness report. Tom's Guide reported in February 2026 that NVIDIA ACE DLSS technology is also continuing to advance in parallel. It improves visual fidelity while simultaneously reducing the computational load on hardware. Game developers including Ubisoft, Tencent, MiHoYo, and NetEase Games have all already committed to integrating ACE technologies into their development pipelines, according to NVIDIA ACE official developer documentation. What this means for gaming by 2030 is profound. Think about a game like an open-world RPG. Right now, the reason those games feel alive for the first 30 hours and then start to feel mechanical is because you begin to see the seams. You notice the repetition. You realize the world has a finite number of responses to your existence. With AI-driven characters at the scale NVIDIA is describing, that ceiling essentially disappears. Every playthrough becomes genuinely unique because the characters are genuinely reacting to you specifically. Your playstyle, your choices, your approach to problems shapes how an entire world's population remembers and responds to you. That is not a feature upgrade. That is a fundamental redesign of what a video game can be. If you are finding this breakdown useful and you want to stay ahead of every major technology shift in gaming and beyond, now is a great time to subscribe to the Inventor realm and hit the notification bell. We cover the technology that is actually shaping the future. Not hype and speculation, but the real research and development that most people do not hear about until it is already here. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss what is coming next. Now let us bring Meta's broader strategy back into the conversation, because their recent decisions tell you something very important about where the industry is heading. Meta made major headlines in early 2026 when their CTO Andrew Bosworth announced a strategic pivot. According to Android Central's reporting from January 2026, Meta is scaling back the VR version of Horizon Worlds, their Roblox-style metaverse platform, and refocusing it toward mobile users. At the same time, they are doubling down on the Quest platform as its own dedicated gaming ecosystem. Bosworth was remarkably direct in his comments. He acknowledged that the VR industry had not grown as quickly as Meta had hoped. But he also made clear that the company was absolutely not exiting VR hardware. The strategic separation between the social metaverse concept and gaming VR is telling. Meta's own developer data shows that 86% of the effective time people spend in their VR headsets is with third-party gaming and app content, according to their official developer blog. When that is your data, the message from your users is impossible to ignore. The path to immersive technology's future runs directly through gaming, not through virtual meeting rooms. There is one more dimension to this that most gaming conversations overlook entirely. It is the convergence of cloud infrastructure with everything we have discussed. The processing power required to run truly sophisticated AI characters, photorealistic VR environments, and fully responsive game worlds simultaneously is enormous. Running all of it on a local device, even a powerful one, creates real performance bottlenecks. The solution the industry is converging on is a hybrid model where local hardware handles what it can while cloud servers carry the heavier computational load. NVIDIA is already building cloud-based versions of its ACE microservices alongside its on-device versions. That means the experience scales with whatever hardware a player is running. By 2030, this cloud and local AI hybrid approach could dramatically narrow the gap between what premium hardware and mid-tier hardware can deliver in terms of intelligent game experiences. This is the democratization of the most sophisticated gaming technology ever built, and it is what makes the 2030 projections commercially realistic rather than purely aspirational. Here is the synthesis of what all of this means when you pull the lens back to 2030. You are going to have VR hardware that is lighter, sharper, and capable of delivering tactile feedback that genuinely convinces your nervous system it is real. It will be backed by a global market projected to reach somewhere between $110 and $194 billion depending on the analyst, according to Grandview Research and NetEase respectively. You are going to have artificial intelligence systems from companies like NVIDIA that are transforming game characters from scripted puppets into autonomous entities that learn, adapt, and react to each individual player in ways no two people will ever experience identically. You are going to have platform leaders like Meta and Sony pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into the developer ecosystems building for these platforms, because both companies can read the trajectory of the revenue data as clearly as anyone. And you are going to have cloud infrastructure sophisticated enough to bring these experiences to hardware that most of the world can realistically afford. The honest answer to what games will look like in 2030 is that they will not look like games in the way we have always understood them. They will look like places. Persistent, intelligent, responsive places that know you, remember you, and generate experiences specifically around how you play, what you avoid, what excites you, and what keeps you returning. The line between a video game and a living world is not going to disappear all at once. It is going to blur so gradually and then so suddenly that most people will not even remember exactly when they stopped calling it a game and started calling it somewhere they went. The technology to build all of this is not theoretical. It exists. NVIDIA is shipping it in games that are live right now. Meta is investing hundreds of millions of dollars into the hardware and developer ecosystem around it. Sony is funding the content that will populate it. The market data from Grandview Research, NetEase, IDC, and FlameUp is confirming the revenue trajectory that makes all of it commercially viable on a massive scale. The only genuine unknown is the exact pace. Whether the full realization of this future lands precisely in 2030 or plays out across a few years on either side of that, the direction is not in question at all. If this kind of deep technology breakdown is what you have been looking for, the Inventor realm is exactly where you need to be. Subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications because we are just getting started. The next video is going to take everything we discussed today and go even deeper into the specific AI systems that are not just changing games, but changing every digital experience in your life. The future is being invented right now. You are watching it happen right here.